A consumer alert for parents tonight. Baby formula remains in short supply. Some store shelves are empty. Some retailers are putting limits on purchases. Dalton Williams tells us what parents should and should not know if they run out.
For the last few months, Annie Mills has been struggling to find formula for her son, Rory.
They just say it's the distributor and the production. So even if I go to the manager of the pharmacy, they say we can't get it. We're waiting for our next prescription to come in, and they don't get it. It's terrifying.
Mills says she has driven from store to store only to find empty shelves, and that shopping online has been just as frustrating.
A lot of people are like, oh, they have tons in stores in Instacart. So I'll order it, or they'll be like, oh, I'll get you some. And then you get to the store, they really don't have any. Or, you can buy some on Amazon or Target locally, but you only can get one can or one bottle. And it's expensive. It adds up.
Experts say one thing parents should not do is try to change the formula of the formula.
You never want to try to stretch your formula by diluting it. So you have to prepare it as instructed. That can obviously be dangerous for the baby. Please don't try to use a homemade recipe that you may find. There are a lot of them around. They are not safe for babies.
Young says it's imperative to work closely with your child's doctor to ensure they're getting the proper nutrition.
First things first, if your infant is on a medical formula, so a hypoallergenic formula or an amino acid-based formula, those are very specific types of formulas, and you really need to work very closely with your pediatrician because there's not as many substitutes because they're obviously a very specific category.
One cause of the shortage was a recall of formula back in February. But Dr. Young says she thinks supplies are improving.
So we've had several months since then where companies have been able to try to increase the amount that they're putting out into the market to make up for that. So I have been able to see families start to find formulas that previously weren't able to get their hands on. So that's really encouraging.
Young adds that phrases like tender tummy, sensitive, or gentle formulas are not regulated terms for formulas and that parents could switch to a different brand of formula if they wanted. But again, parents should always consult their pediatrician.
Our former security guards who were working at the Skyline just last month say they've seen firsthand how poor the conditions still are at the building. That's where our Connor White picks up the story. He's live at the Skyline tonight after talking with some of those former guards. Connor?
Matt and Megan, the Greater Syracuse Tenants Network says that the main issue facing tenants today is ineffective security. We spoke with former members of that security team who say that conditions haven't really improved since last winter, and they were never properly trained to do the job. Green National set to pay $250,000 for not fully addressing outstanding code violations that put tenants at risk. Nikki Polka has seen those issues firsthand, working security at the Skyline as recently as last week.
There's still a lot of drugs going on. There's still a lot of people who are not supposed to be in there.
She and her colleagues, Tyus and Randy, all former employees with Alpha Security, say there's still garbage in the hallways and stairwell. Green National hired Alpha in April of 2021, required to improve security under orders from the city.
The guys just sit at the desk and they fall asleep or something. That company doesn't care.
2 months after Alpha Security started at Skyline, tenants sent CNY Central these photos of guards asleep on the job. Randy says his week-long gig at Skyline this past March was his first security job ever, and says Alpha gave him no formal training.
It didn't feel like much of a security. We just had a desk and we were told to go up onto floors and just look around, see if there's anything out of the ordinary. That place is more than out of the ordinary.
Tenants critical of lax security, claiming just about anyone could get inside. These three say Alpha never told them what to do beyond asking for ID at the door.
They can get violent, and a lot of bad words have been flung and threats to our lives.
All of this for $14 an hour.
I'm not doing this. I'm not risking our life or anything.
We have reached out to Green National and Alpha Security and have yet to hear back. The recommendation from those three former guards who all quit after just a few days or a week on the job say that they need to hire a new firm for security to improve at Skyline.
Getting a better idea on what school budgets are looking like ahead of the vote that will happen in so many districts outside the city of Syracuse later this month. CBS 5's Maggie DeRosiers is with the Live Eye in Syracuse right now.
Increases in school district budgets are for a variety of different reasons, depending on the school district needs. And then in many cases, taxes will go up as a result. On the 17th, the community will then come together to approve those changes. Several schools' budget needs require funds for staffing and construction projects, and many districts have increased transportation budgets. Here are what some of the biggest districts are prioritizing. Syracuse City Schools will invest in salaries and professional services. Baldwinsville has construction projects in their budget. West Genesee will increase the number of teachers on staff. North Syracuse's budget states that due to inflation, most items will be more costly, and they look to add new jobs. Jamesville DeWitt will invest in mental health, school supplies, technology, and staff recruitment. And Fayetteville Manlius will increase mental health and special education funding. Most schools also cited funding increase in transportation costs. Although not all districts described the reasoning behind transportation increases in their budget, most saw significant jumps in required funding.
An increase based on inflation of diesel fuel, but also it's an expense-based aid. So we're getting the aid the following year after ramping up, having full-day instruction, interscholastic athletics, extracurricular activities, field trips, that nature.
Coming up at 6, we look into the catalyst behind why mental health services are being prioritized in some local districts.